I've been following this ritual since I was a child. For me, it's a follow-on on a spiritual path that was promised from past generations.
Thaipusam is a day devoted to Lord Murugan, whereby we say thanks for all the prayers that he has blessed us with and for another prosperous year ahead.
முருக பக்தர்கள்லாம் சேர்ந்து காவடி தூக்கணும் ஒரு தினம். நிறையா பேர் நேர்த்திக்கடன் செலுத்தும் ஒரு விசேஷமான நாள்.
It is an annual rite. Thaipusam is a festival celebrated by Hindus worldwide in honor of the Hindu god Lord Murugan, the destroyer of evil, who represents virtue, youth, and power. It is a festival where some devotees will pierce their bodies and carry physical burdens called Kavadi in order to seek blessings, fulfill their vows, and offer thanks to Lord Murugan. There are some who believe that carrying the Kavadi will cleanse them of their sins. In Singapore, devotees embark on a grueling 4-kilometer walk from the Sri Srinivasa Perumal Temple to the Sri Tendaidabani Temple, where they will make their offerings to the statue of Lord Murugan. Along the way, loud music will be played and the devotees carrying Kavadis will dance at points along the 4-kilometer route. Depending on the time of day, some devotees will walk barefoot under the scorching sun. In 2022, Singapore shortlisted Thaipusam for nomination to the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. This Hindu festival draws both locals and tourists. And in 2023, with the COVID-19 pandemic almost over, Thaipusam was back in full swing. This is the story of two devotees, Mr. S. Ramanathan, known as Ram, and Mr. Shanmugam Govindarasu, known as Shanmugam, as they prepare themselves for Thaipusam.
Kavadi is basically a vessel to show expression of sacrifice to Lord Murugan.
It's made of metal and aluminium structure, weighing at about 40 kilo, and it's a mix of gold and silver.
A Kavadi is a metal structure that devotees carry, often having their upper bodies pierced with rods to support the structure. They will also be pierced with skewers thrust through their cheeks and tongues. Regarded as Singapore's best piercer, Mr. Tamil Chelvan Suppaya has the honour of piercing many of the devotees during the mounting process. Some devotees also pull chariots, attached by chains, hooked to their backs. Yet, before the devotees can carry the Kavadi, there are certain rituals and preparations they must undergo. The path to taking part in Thaipusam is different for everyone. And Ram and Shanmugam each has their story to tell.
I take 41 days ahead of the event. It's a time of change. Your mind changes, all the negative thoughts, anything negative in your system has to be discarded from your mindset, right? The way you eat, the way you think, everything has got to be very, very progressively correct towards Thaipusam Day.
I normally fast 1 week before Thaipusam, and I go on a vegetarian diet, and I refrain from shaving, cutting hair, cutting nails, and so on. And I sleep on the floor with a piece of yellow cloth. I will try to go to temple almost every day, pray more often during that one week. I will try to meditate and have a peace of mind.
At about 2 weeks prior to Thaipusam, if you're still not in that state of mind, chances are you're not going to be ready. And it's happened to me before. The only thing that was really wrong was my mind state was wrong. So I made an extra conscious effort the following year to follow the procedures to a T, and also to consciously, through meditation, to set my mind in focus. The following year was a fantastic year, I have to admit, because it followed all the guidelines and all was expected of myself and towards the whole culture.
It is 2 days before Thaipusam, and Ram and Shanmugam's preparations are underway. Ram starts his morning at Sri Vedama Kaliamman Temple at Serangoon Road to pay respects to Goddess Amman, the mother of Lords Murugan and Ganesha, and to ask for her blessing before the statue of Lord Murugan is placed on his Kavadi. Meanwhile, Shanmugam prepares his Kavadi for transport in the evening. It is not uncommon for Kavadi bearers to have their Kavadis transported to a holding area near the Sri Srinivasa Perumal temple, the start of the Thaipusam procession. The amount of traffic and activity can be hectic on the day, so setting up nearby helps to make things go smoothly. Carefully, Shanmugam and his friends carry the Kavadi through the narrow corridor and down to the loading area. Piece by piece, they load the Kavadi onto the lorry. Shanmugam takes a last check on his cargo to ensure that the Kavadi is firmly secured to prevent any mishaps. It is the eve of Thaipusam. Shanmugam heads to the holding area to begin unloading and looks for a spot to place his Kavadi. Finding the ideal place to set up, he makes last checks before heading home to rest and prepare. Shanmugam has an early morning set-off time. He will need all the rest he can get. In the evening, Ram holds the consecration rituals for his Kavadi and chariot. With Ram is his family and his close friend Walton Sia, who is the only other person allowed to help assemble the Kavadi on the day itself. Until then, Ram is very strict on tradition, and he alone will prepare his Kavadi and his chariot prior to procession day.
This Kavadi is built alone because of tradition. The people that were involved in this Kavadi from days of old always did it themselves, and I'm following suit. It's until you do it alone and feel what you are doing, it's really pretty hard to appreciate. Predominantly, it's all individual, ritualistic. The preparation and stuff like that, nobody else is supposed to do it except myself. You're the one that maintains everything, you're the one that puts everything together and stuff like that, and you're basically guarding over it all the time. It can be very, very tiring. I mean, towards the later part, like loading it up to the truck and transporting it, so fine, I have a few guys with me.
Unlike Ram, Shan's approach is different. His friends and family will be there to help him build his Kavadi. Kavadi are the centerpiece of Thaipusam. They come in many shapes, sizes and colors. Many devotees endure hardship, both physically and mentally, as they embark on their pilgrimage to the temple at Tank Road. Each devotee has a unique Kavadi and a story to go with it.
The Kavadi that I'm bearing is basically a very, very old Kavadi. It's been around for the last, about 63 odd years. I mean, the last person that was carrying it was my uncle. He was carrying it all the way for about 49 years, and but at that point in time he was starting to fall ill, and he was looking for somebody to actually take over. I never wanted to take it up. As he went along through the years, I noticed he had to pick and choose the right persons. I tried my best to go around looking for people to take over, but somehow or other it just never worked. I took over and I carried on that ritual unbreakingly for the next 13 years.
Yes, I'm a first generation Kavadi carrier in my family. Back then I was only about 16 years old, and life was very tough and a lot of problems and issues. That's when I went to temple to pray. I didn't know anything about Kavadi at that age, but it just struck me that for a change in my life, I should carry Kavadi and see Murugan on Thaipusam day. I still can remember how I felt 25 years ago when I first carried my Kavadi. You don't know what are you going in for, you don't know how are you going to carry that weight for that 4 kilometers. The whole body began to feel numb. The weight was too much on my shoulders and I was getting onto my hip. That's when I really prayed that I should somehow finish these prayers and to give me the strength to complete the prayers without taking it off halfway through. So eventually I managed to pull through and I completed my first year successfully.
This Kavadi is two parts. One part is being the radham. The radham is being the chariot, which is hooked up on my back, and that I have to pull along. And the second part is the Arugandam Kavadi, the actual Kavadi, which is basically holding up 118 piercings supported by the 4 main rods. There's no belt. It's almost akin to putting a pot on your head and trying to balance as you walk. Right? So there's a lot of balance involved. And this particular one, because it's that old, I've chosen not to modify it to make it any more comfortable. Okay, I prefer to do the procession at noon because that is the way it's always been done in my family. I think a lot of us have actually forgotten one of the prime movers in Thaipusam is Surya, the sun god. So out of pure respect for that, we follow on the tradition and it's never stopped. It's always been around that time.
During the procession, apart from the milk that is fixed onto the Kavadi, we also carry rose water, sandalwood powder, holy ash and panchamirtham as a form of offering to Lord Murugan.
Panchamirtham is an important element of Thaipusam. Panch means 5, and traditionally, Panchamirtham consists of 5 elements. It is considered to be a sacred concoction used to bathe Lord Murugan's statue.
Panchamirtham is a sweet dish, right, with different herbs, spices and fruits put together. The end of the procession, we will bathe Lord Murugan with the panchamirtham. We'll collect it back and then we'll distribute it to everyone. It is the nectar of life, and we are hoping that to give everybody a part of this blessing.
Ram and Shanmugam each have their own unique way of making Panchamirtham.
We hold a very traditional method of preparing panchamirtham. This same method may not be followed by everyone, but through tradition, we put it together out of respect for Lord Murugan. Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. The way we prepare is a little bit different from people on the outside.
Ram and Shanmugam are going to Little India to shop for the ingredients to make Panchamirtham. This is usually done on the eve of Thaipusam to ensure the freshest of ingredients. Ram chooses everything himself, including the flowers that he will be using on Thaipusam day. Coconuts are crucial for the cleansing ritual. This ritual allows devotees to surrender their ego at the feet of God and to ward off evil. Jackfruit is one of the main ingredients of Panchamirtham. Ram has a go-to fruit stall in Theka market, one that his family have patronized for 2 generations. It is the eve of Thaipusam, and Ram prepares to enter his altar room to make his panchamirtham. For hygiene purposes and respect to Lord Murugan, each devotee will clean themselves to ensure that the preparation is not tainted.
Obviously, I need to shower and make sure I'm very, very clean. I'll tie my hair, I'll cover it up in a cloth, cover my mouth, so there's no breath. Make sure that I'm totally clean, make sure fingernails all cut. Just hygiene is number one. What I'll do is I will go into a private room, i.e. my prayer room, lock the doors. Nobody is allowed to disturb me during that time, because the mind state and the physical state, as you prepare this one by one, has to be in a pure state of surrender. And as you're doing this, your mind cannot be wandering all over the place, or almost 100%, 110% concentration on that preparation. And that alone takes me personally, for maybe a small serving, 3 to 4 hours. I take my time. I make sure that I concentrate. I sing songs, I sing hymns. I've already taken the vow of silence already by then.
This shop in Dunlop Street is where Shanmugam received his first Kavadi back in 1998. It was given to him by the shop's late owner, Mr. Pugal. Shanmugam has been patronizing this shop every year without fail for his Thaipusam shopping. Back at Shanmugam's home, family members gather to help him make panchamirtham.
Panchamirtham recipe was actually passed on to me by the seniors in the Kavadi group. We come together as a family. There's about 13 different fruits and items of honey, dates, banana, jackfruit, and all the sweet items. We have jaggery, sweet sugar, rock sugar, and all this. Then we prepare it normally on the day of the prayers, and we will get one of them to mix up all the different ingredients that is going to go into the panchamirtham, and we place it aside to bring it to temple.
One member of the family uses his hands to mix the ingredients together inside a blessed keg. As the ingredients are mixed, the panchamirtham is regularly inspected. Balancing the ingredients is essential to ensure that the dish is made to perfection. However, tasting of the panchamirtham is forbidden until it is offered to Lord Murugan. Everything is done by touch and feel. During the process, songs of Lord Murugan are played. Once the panchamirtham process is completed, the keg is sealed and covered. The keg is then taken to the altar area to be blessed with holy ash marked with 3 lines, or the patte. This is the closing blessing for the panchamirtham. Everyone involved gathers to sing songs of praise and worship. During Thaipusam, many devotees will have their bodies pierced. This painful ritual is very delicate and a key moment for the devotees. Having their body pierced is their ultimate sacrifice to Lord Murugan. And one of the most experienced piercers in Singapore is Mr. Tamil Chelvan Suppaya.
15 வயசு இருக்கும் அப்போ ஆரம்பித்தாங்க குத்துறது. முதல் சிறு அளவு தான், நெத்தி அளவு, நாக்கழுத்து அளவு, இதேமாரி தான் குத்திருந்தேன். அப்புறம் மெதுவாக அந்த நான் சொன்ன அந்த பி நந்தகுமாருக்கு அவருக்கு அளவு நிறையா குத்த ஆரம்பித்தோம். அப்படியே ஒரு ஆளை கூட ஆரம்பித்தாங்க. எனக்கு ரொம்ப நர்வஸாக இருந்துச்சு. நான் அளவு குத்தும் போது என் கையெல்லாம் நடுங்குனுச்சு. போக குத்தும் போது எனக்கு அந்த பயம் தெளிஞ்சிட்டு, இப்போ ஒரு காவடி தெரிஞ்சிட்டு இப்படி குத்தினா இந்த மாரி உடம்புக்கு இப்படிப்பட்டவர், அதுக்கு தகுந்தாப்புல குத்திடுறது.
Key to the process is the way Mr. Tamil Chelvan pinches the skin to numb the pain during piercing.
குத்தும் போது ரத்தம் வராது, ஆனால் வலி இருக்கும். ஆனால் அந்த வலியை தாங்க முடியும், நம்மளால் அந்த வலியை எடுத்துக்க முடியும். அப்படிப்பட்ட வலி தான் நம்ம அதான் குத்துறதுலேயும் இருக்குது. நம்ம போட்டு அழுத்தி ஒரு மேலாற்ற சதையில் குத்துனோம்னா தாங்கிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. நம்ம காட்டு பெரிய ஊசி எடுத்து போட்டு ஆடு மாடுக்கு குத்துற மாதிரி குத்துனோம்னா முடியாது, அவங்களுக்கு வலி தாங்கும். ஏன்னா அது வந்து உடல் அவங்களும் வலி எடுக்கும். ஆனால் இப்போ நம்ம ஸ்லாவ் குத்தும் போது என் உடல், என் தம்பி உடல், என் மகன் உடல் மாரி நினைத்துக்கிட்டு அது மென்மையாக தான் குத்த பார்க்கணும். ரொம்ப அழுத்தமாகவும் குத்த தேவை, குத்தவும் முடியாது. ஏன்னா அந்த ஊசி வளைந்து விடும். ரொம்ப சதையில் மொத்தமான சதை எடுத்து குத்தினா அந்த ஊசி வளைஞ்சி விடும். அதனால் பார்த்து தான் நம்ம குத்துறது. குத்தும் போது சிலவங்க நான் ஸ்கீனை பார்ப்பேன். அதே முடி உள்ளவங்களும் ரொம்ப கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமாக இருக்கும் குத்துறதுக்கு. வேர்த்திட்டே இருக்கவங்களும் அவங்க கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியாக குத்திடலாம். ஆயிலி ஸ்கின் கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம், வலிக்கிட்டு தான் இருக்கும். ட்ரை ஸ்கின் கொஞ்சம் பயம், ஏன்னா அது குத்தும் போது சதை சம்டம் தெரிக்கும். ஏன்னா ரொம்ப ராஃபாக இருக்கிறதுனால அவங்க சம்டம் ரேஷஸ்மே இருக்கும், உடம்புல வேண்டியிருப்பாங்க. அது லேசாக பார்த்து தான் குத்தணும், அவசரப்பட்டு குத்திடக்கூடாது. குத்தும் போது ரத்தம் வராது, அவுக்கும் போது சில பேர்களுக்கு ரத்தம் வரும். ஏன்னா காவடி தூக்கி கூட அங்கே இடிச்சிடுவாங்க, அசைவு இருக்கிறதுனால எடுக்கும் போது, இல்லை ரொம்ப வேகமாக எடுத்தாலும் கொஞ்சோண்டு ஸ்லைட்டாக ரத்தம் இருக்கும். அப்படி ஒரு ரத்தம் கொடமாக ஊற்றாது.
One week before Thaipusam, we will go over to Mr. Tamil Selvam's house and give him a varasattattu that consists of shirt, vesti, towel and other prayer stuff, and we will formally invite him for our Kavadi prayers. He will then come over on the day and lead the whole prayers and do the piercing for us. So this is the highest form of respect that we offer for the elders.
It is a few hours to Thaipusam. Shanmugam performs his last prayers before blessing the family members and friends who will accompany him on his arduous 4-kilometer walk. He takes his Lord Murugan statue from the altar drawer, wraps it in holy cloth, and walks to the main door. Before leaving with the statue, a cleansing ritual is performed at Shanmugam's doorstep by throwing half lemons on both sides of the corridor. Then, a fire is lit on the coconut. The coconut is thrown to the ground, shattering it into pieces. Shanmugam then heads to the Sri Srinivasa Perumal temple, where he will prepare to start his Thaipusam journey. It is almost midnight, and many people are in the temple waiting for the countdown to Thaipusam. The atmosphere is filled with loud music, cheering, and dancing. Many here are milk pot bearers, waiting in anticipation. As the clock taps towards midnight, the noise and enthusiasm increases. It is midnight, and the temple gate opens. Hundreds of devotees flood out. As the Thaipusam procession starts, crowds build up behind the roadside barriers. As devotees cross the road, temple officials and the police guide and marshal. Shanmugam and his entourage make their way into the temple. Once within the temple grounds, they find a spot to set up the Kavadi. While Mr. Tamil Chelvan arrives to begin a very long day of piercing, Shanmugam's helpers unveil his Kavadi and begin to prepare it. There is one last ritual before the piercing begins for Shanmugam. This ritual is the most intricate of them all. All the items needed are laid out on the floor. The crowd begins to surround him. All the preparation that Shanmugam has gone through is all down to this very moment. Fast forward 6 hours, and Ram is getting ready to move his Kavadi out of his house and onto the lorry. Unlike Shanmugam, Ram does the breaking of the coconut ritual by himself. He does this to break any spiritual barriers that may hinder safe passage. Under the watchful eye of Ram, Walton and friends carefully load and secure the Kavadi and chariot onto the lorry. There is one other item that is important to Ram.
My grandfather's walking stick.
You'll be carrying?
Yeah, I have to. This has always been carried in this Kavadi.
The items in the Kavadi and chariot, especially the peacock feathers, have to be properly secured to ensure that they aren't blown away by wind. The feathers have been part of the Kavadi and chariot from day one. One last check from Walton, and they are off to the temple. While the weather looks good, there are concerns that there will be rain in the afternoon. Rain will make Ram's Thaipusam an extra challenging one. 20 minutes later, Ram arrives at the Sri Srinivasa Perumal temple. His entourage unloads the precious cargo. As Walton mounts Ram's Kavadi onto his shoulder, they proceed to the waiting area to begin their setup. Even after many hours, the atmosphere of song is still going strong. Navigating the huge crowd, Ram reaches his waiting area. There is an unspoken rule in the temple that the spot where Ram sets his chariot and Kavadi has belonged to his family since the time that his uncle took part in Thaipusam. The noise is overwhelming, thanks to the accumulation of different groups of musicians, singing and playing percussive instruments, seemingly in a challenge to be the loudest. Walton gets to work on the chariot and Kavadi. With each screw and bolt, he meticulously assembles the structures. At the same time, Ram sets up his altar for his preparation rituals. He places item after item neatly on the prayer mat. Friends and family come over to offer support, and in return, Ram blesses them. One family member is Uncle Muttu. He made a promise to Ram's late uncle that he will help to guide his nephew through the Thaipusam ritual. Together, they make the final touches and tie the holy reed at the crown of the Kavadi. This holy reed is to help energize the Kavadi during the procession. Once Ram is happy with the preparations, he proceeds to have a shower ahead of the piercing ceremony. Cleansed, Ram's body is adorned with holy ash. Ram blesses his entourage and family members. After the blessing, he stands before his Kavadi, closes his eyes and focuses his mind. Taking a lit coconut to an altar, he asks for strength and support from Lord Ganesha. This is the first step of the piercing ritual. After prayer, he breaks the coconut. But as the clocks count down to Ram's allotted midday procession time, the piercer, Mr. Tamilchelvan, is not near. Ram asks Uncle Muttu to help start the piercing ritual by piercing his forehead. This is the first piercing offered to Lord Ganesha. Grateful, Ram thanks his uncle. But there will be a question on whether Ram will miss his midday window. The spikes pierce Shanmugam cleanly. Shanmugam's preparation has been a success. Lance after lance, hook after hook, he is unfazed by pain, his mind solely focused on Lord Murugan. At the same spot hours later, Ram will have his body pierced. Mr. Tamilchelvan arrives, immediately inspects Ram's body and begins to instruct his team to start piercing. Ram's Kavadi is unique because it must be mounted before the piercing can happen. This requires a deep commitment to the ritual, as he has to carry the weight all the way to the last piercing. As Mr. Tamilchelvan and his team continue to pierce Ram's body, pain doesn't seem to be a factor.
While I'm getting pierced, okay, is a very transcending experience, right? You're in a full state of meditation, and you're just transcending your normal self. You're not exactly man on the street anymore, right? You're not living a life of comfort anymore, right? So, and as it happens, you have gone to that level, that further level of surrender, and that puts your mind state at a slightly separate level. I can't elaborate further than that, no. But you do become a little bit different.
For both Ram's and Shanmugam's final checks, adjustments are made to their Kavadis. It is going to be a long walk, and their burdens must feel right. They wait at the temple doors for their turn to set off on their 4-kilometer walk to the temple at Tank Road.
During my first year, I carried in the evening, and I realized that there was a very bad mistake that I did, because I got stuck in the jam, everyone was not moving, and I was getting so tired. That's when I thought to myself that the following year I should give it a try by carrying in the morning instead. It actually worked perfectly for me because there wasn't any form of hindrance in front of me. I could walk at my own pace. I always find that the morning part of Thaipusam is always the best time to carry Kavadi.
Okay, I prefer to do the procession at noon because that is the way it's always been done in my family. We used to do it very early in the morning, we used to do it later in the evenings, and my uncle went through this like 50 over years, so he had to choose the right energies at the right time, and he felt that being at noon would be best.
Ram and Shanmugam get the green light to begin their walk. There is much anticipation in the air as they move off.
When we leave the temple, the Kavadi dance will normally be at the entrance of the temple for a good 3 to 4 minutes. After we straight away I'll start to walk, and I'll walk non-stop. I will not really dance during the procession because once the Kavadi is on my shoulders, all that I can think of is to reach Teng Road Temple as the fastest time because I'm so eager to see Lord Murugan with my Kavadi on me. Carrying the Kavadi after a 2-year break was slightly different because physically it's a bit challenging as age is also catching up. I suffered cramps on my left foot towards the end of the procession. I told myself that I have to complete that whole journey, and the support given by my family was very crucial. You know, they sing songs, they clap hands, they got me moving, they encouraged me to, they keep on telling me that you're almost there. The favorite part of the whole journey is when I enter his temple at my highest point of my prayers, when I'm so energized to see him with my Kavadi on me.
Before reaching Lord Murugan, both Ram and Shanmugam will wear the Ani Padam to complete their offering rituals. The slippers are also referred to as Idumban slippers. Legend refers to Idumban as the first follower of Lord Murugan who carried the Kavadi. Wearing of the Ani Padam has become a yogic practice associated with seeking the blessings of Lord Murugan.
I'm glad that everything went on as per plan on Thaipusam Day. This was really possible with the help of my family and my friends.
His walk successfully completed, Shanmugam will head home to wash up and will later return to the temple to help other devotees. Starting his walk 1 hour later than planned, Ram tries to catch up for lost time. His uncle stays close, spurring him on. It looks promising. until the clouds darken. The storm arrives.
If it rains, the whole Kavadi gets a little bit heavier, people get disoriented.
Rain pours down, making Ram's Kavadi harder to carry and his chariot harder to pull. He feels the weight on his neck and knees, while his back takes more strain from the hooks. Ram is determined to complete the walk because in 2015, he was involved in a severe accident that threatened to end his involvement in Thaipusam altogether.
In 2015, I met with an accident and I was hospitalized. I was in ICU for 11-16 days. It was really quite bad because I'd lost nearly all senses. I couldn't use my hands. I'd broken one hand, broken my neck, broken my hip. I couldn't really walk. I had to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to hold a glass. I had to learn how to coordinate all over again. I torn both shoulders. It's like there was almost nothing I could do myself. I used to speak quite a few languages. After the accident, I lost not only Tamil, I lost a few languages. Tamil being the most significant. In fact, I developed this speech impediment even with English. There are certain times that I just totally forget.
There is no giving up for Ram and his entourage. Their devotion shines through any dark clouds.
Rain or shine, it does not matter. We still have to walk. Towards the end, I couldn't wear the Anipadam in time, and I couldn't do the dance routine because we didn't exactly know where the altar was. Everybody was too confused because at that point in time it was just a heavy rain, it was a downpour, and everybody was disoriented. By the time I saw the altar, it was a little bit too late, and by the time I wanted to put up the Anipadam, I'd already walked quite a bit. For the sake of everybody else, for the entourage that was there, it's best not to make things complicated for everyone.
With pure grit and determination, Ram finally completes the journey. His walk done, it is time for Walton to help detach Ram's chariot and remove the Kavadi. Holy ash is then applied to where Ram was pierced to help heal his wounds. Ram then gives out his panchamirtham to his entourage. Despite the rain, Ram is all smiles as he mingles with his family and friends. His entourage packs up and leaves for home.
On the third day after Thaipusam, we will have a closing prayer which is called Idumban Puja. We say thanks to Lord Murugan and we do a prayers for Idumban.
Idumban is a deity that became a servant to Lord Murugan, and he was the one who forefronted and started this whole movement.
He was the one who carried up the 2 hills on Thaipusam day to see Murugan, to have his prayers granted. So we say thanks to Idumban and we conclude Thaipusam.
I'll do quite elaborate prayers, and at the end of the prayers we will finish off by going back to a non-vegan lifestyle.
The journey to Thaipusam can be long and arduous, but holds a special place in every Kavadi carrier's life. For Ram and Shanmugam, they will be back the following year to make the most important walk of their lives.
At the end of the day, you think about Lord Murugan, look, he holds the elixir of life. It may also because of him I'm alive.